Yeah, nah, bro. This is weird, dude. This is... But like at the same time, like you sound like a hater, but you mailed stuff to me in my P.O. box. Bro, holy shit.
So the big thing with him, you know, scrolling over and seeing like the little cards, right? The little frames from the video. He really was kind of understanding like, oh, this guy was actually paying attention. This guy was actually paying attention. And the big one that I think freaked him out was he saw, you know, the footage of him at the rally with Nick, right?
We will make them in the holy war. The enemies of Christ have in this world. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Nicholas J. is going to be the future president of the United States.
Nick has got suspended on a Rumble. Imagine getting fucking suspended on Rumble for that stream. And so when and plus he probably got a little bit of heat from the FBI, right? Because you can't really just be saying we're gonna in the holy war. But so Sneako was trying to kind of cover up the fact that he was at that rally, right? Because it's a horrible look, like, and it's insanely delusional that he would even be there or do that. But yeah, so I think that when he was just really trying to take in, like, holy fuck, like, I got God, like, this guy really has seen some shit. He just couldn't face the music, like, and he skips to the end because he can tell, like, you know, the end has some artistic thing, right?
Hey Gokanaru, really good Sneako video, you wet rag. In it you say rich PPL like Sneako and Kanye use conspiracies to distract from the real ruling class. What do you think is meant by a ruling class? Assume I'm a Destiny fan neolib who don't believe in ruling class.
Wait, okay, I have to deconstruct that question a bit because I missed the first part. Holy f***, we have 1,800 people in here. Yo, 1,800 motherfuckers in here. We are deconstructing Sneako's response to my video right now, okay? And so you got to join my Discord, okay? I stream every single Friday night at 9:30 p.m. EST. And let me just tell you, these fucking streams, this is a chill stream for me, okay? Gokanaru streams, let's just say that usually they're fucking manic as hell. They're an experience, I'd like to say. Stop!
A world of
Come on, I'm not gonna hurt you.
pure degeneration.
I'm not gonna hurt you. We like to fuck around here. So yes, join the Discord and you will only be pinged when I'm streaming or when I upload a video. Nothing else. So thank you for everyone who's here. Okay, join that bloody Discord. Trust me, everyone. There's a lot to look forward to from my fucking end of the internet right now. But anyway, so you just said, in it, you say rich people like Sneako and Kanye use conspiracies to distract from the real ruling class. Look, if there's one thing that I've learned over my many years on the internet now, it's that anti-Semitism, in the way that it usually manifests, is just anti-capitalism for the dumbest people on the planet. Your life's shitty, you're broke, you hate the elite, you hate the wealthy, you hate banks. But you don't want to hate capitalism, that's not cool. But hating, that's easy. That's cool. Instead of targeting your rage at the underlying system, you look for some big other to just feel a conspiracy against. I mean, even Nietzsche, who, you know, got co-opted by, pointed out that anti-Semitism is just baked in with slave morality, okay? A lot of fucking resentment at play when you have opinions like that, as useless as that. Because they're the entire problem. Well, how do you solve that problem? And despite all of that, the system will be completely unfazed. Nothing will change. A lot of rich people also love these narratives because it allows them to look subversive, you know, red-pilled, without actually jeopardizing their position as the dominant class. Any politics based on the inferiority or superiority of race only acts as a veil to protect the people in charge from having too many questions pointed toward them, okay? It's a lot easier to blame some fucking ethnicity, some vague concept of a type of person for any problems facing society than it is to look directly in the fucking eyes of those who control it and challenge the underlying structures that are perpetuating those problems. What do you think is meant by a ruling class? Assume I'm a Destiny fan neolib who don't believe in ruling class. No, well, it's pretty simple, right? Like, okay, so I'll give you guys an example. Here's a historical example, and we will get back to Sneako. Just let me kind of answer this question. So in Germany, right? We're talking Germany after or during World War One. Okay, so the big question that people often think to themselves is like, how the fuck does Hitler come to power, right? How does that happen? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Hitler was the best at hiding the fact that he was, a maliciously intentful guy. Well, pretty simple. There's many factors that led to, Hitler's rise, right? The big thing to understand, right, is that there was a ton of German soldiers in World War One who did not want to fight. And there were communist, socialist, whatever, movements that were very vehemently anti-war, okay? Karl Liebknecht, Rosa Luxemburg, there was many activists who were actively, speaking out against the war because they saw it for what it was. It was, an attempt for the German aristocracy to expand Germany's colonial rule. You know what I mean? Like, to basically, it was a frivolous fucking war in a lot of ways, right? And so what ends up happening is that the war, World War One, goes horribly for Germany, right? As we all know. And there's an attempted communist or socialist, whatever you would say, revolution. Now, that revolution failed. And it failed spectacularly. It almost succeeded. It was close, but close doesn't fucking cut it, especially not in history. And Rosa Luxemburg, dead. Karl Liebknecht, dead. The faces of these movements, dead, killed, whatever. And so when you sever, the biggest people who were promoting these ideas, the most popular people, the ideas really do get stunted. And so what you end up with is a fucking brutally destroyed Germany, right? Like, economically, all this. There's still a strong, kind of socialist leaning size to the population, right? Because again, there was almost a successful fucking revolution. And you have a bunch of people who have a ton of fucking resentment, right? They are very mad at the elites of Germany for making them participate in World War One. They are very, very pissed off, as they should be. And they have, very, very shitty prospects. Germany's a mess. It's just like the worst case scenario for Germans. And, along comes this charismatic little fella by the name of Adolf. And so if you're thinking like strategically, right, and this is something that guys like Sneako, they don't ever even consider because they just listen to what this has to say without really critically thinking about it, you know what I mean? And of course, this is just notorious for glazing the fuck out of him. In reality, what you need to understand, okay, when people like this say that there was a great leader or that he was a genius or anything like that, what needs to be understood is that Hitler was a genius for propaganda. He had an incredible mind for manipulating the masses, right? He had an incredible mind for inspiring the population. He put Germany under a spell, okay? And the biggest thing, right, to understand is that that's pretty much all his fucking talent was, to an extent, right? Like, the big fuck up of, realistically, was probably doing as much meth as he was doing, but also just thinking that he was a better general than he actually was. Also, he was lost in his own sauce as well. That's like a dangerous thing, that he actually believed that he was like bringing in this, new race. He was like an unironic holy war to him. But yeah, he thought he was a good general, and consistently he fucked up on decision making when it came to strategic alliances, strategic moves in battle, right? Of course, the Blitzkrieg, the Blitzkrieg succeeded, but you don't, like, why did they attack Russia, right? Why the did they attack Russia? Insane. That's the same mistake, by the way, that Napoleon made, and, idolized Napoleon, right? So made the same mistake that Napoleon made, and that's supposed to be the guy that he's like modeling himself after. Very strange, very, very ridiculous decision making. But the bigger thing that you need to understand is master propagandist is trying to rise through the ranks, gain control of Germany. Keep in mind, the scary thing that you need to understand about Hitler is he actually really did predict his own rise, right? You know what I mean? Like he kind of laid out a pathway with all his philosophies. But why was the Nazi Party called the National Socialist Party, right? This is a big thing people say. Why? But the Nazis were socialists, right? I mean, you could argue there's socialistic elements in it, but in reality, he actually hated everything to do with socialism and communism. He attacked the Russians, right? He completely despised communism, right? He thought it was Jewish, literally. And so what needs to be understood is that the reason that the Nazi Party was labeled the National Socialist Party is quite simply a fucking marketing tactic, okay? It's quite simply a literal scam. He scammed the German public because, like I said, there was a failed communist revolution that resulted in the deaths of a lot of the figureheads, of the movement, okay? And what happens when there's a failed revolution? Well, all the peasants, all the fucking normal people who were on board with that revolution, they don't just disappear. They don't get, usually they don't all die, right? So there's still like a strong kind of affinity to that movement. It's just disorganized. And what does he realize? If you name the fucking party the National Socialists, people will get behind it a lot quicker, right? And as we were saying, the ruling class. So picture that you're a fucking German business owner and you're not, right? And you see this guy and you understand his angle. His angle is that he is anti-capitalist, but just for the fucking... How fucking perfect is that? Because it's effectively what that allows for is that you as a business owner, you're completely fine because you're not but all those who maybe even are your competition, right? They become the enemy. You know what I mean? And so this is what needs to be understood. The National Socialist, whatever, movement, his party.
I feel like I could conquer the world.
Your merch is going to look nice hanging up next to my designer Sneako merch. Green heart.
Thank you, Mace. God bless. Yes. Stands of Time hoodie. This looks sick. Is available right now. Gokamerch.com. We got Eternal Beauty right here.
Shut up, Gokanaru. The real thing you should be advertising is our brand new Hubert NPCs. Did you enjoy the Sneako video? Do you desire the love and companionship that comes with owning a Hubert of your own? Well, then you should head to Gokamerch.com and sign up for the email list. It's easy. Just take a look at one of our satisfied customers.
You open it.
Oh! Oh, that's hard. A little bite! Wow, look at that smile. Making a friend has never been easier with our new Hubert NPCs. Sign up to the Gokamerch.com email list today so that you'll be the first to be notified when Huberts go on sale. Only a limited quantity will be sold.
So sign up. All right, back to the clip. Okay, thank you, bro. But to continue the rant that I was going on, sorry. How fucking perfect is that? Okay? Because keep this in mind, right? Entire thing, like, you need to keep in mind that these fascist movements, they always speak as though they're anti-capitalist. They always, invoke this language where it's like, the peasants, we must rise, they're exploiting us. But of course, usually they'll say like, they're exploiting us. In reality, it's just, capitalists in general. But they, at the end of the day, the fascists, they're cucks in a sense. They're literally cucks. They absolutely will still uplift the vast majority of business owners, whatever you want to say, the people who are actually, exploiting. They just want to exclude, certain basically ousted groups of capitalists, whatever, right? That's like their cope, okay? And so when I'm talking about the ruling class wanting to provide a veil to distract, right? What I'm talking about is the fact that, and again, the same thing happens in Germany. Tons and tons and tons of business owners, rich, elite German people who were nervous about potential communist uprisings, right? They had just cracked down. They see this perfect opportunity. Yes, this Hitler guy, his party, it's socialist in fucking name. Oh my God. But instead of actually targeting the fucking businesses, he'll work with us because we're not. So he'll crack down on the. He'll manifest all this massive resentment toward the. And we can just fucking continue doing business perfectly fine with the government's approval. This is perfect. And so that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about veils, right? It needs to be understood that like distraction. Focus on the. Meanwhile, it's like, the other business owners are still you, right? They're just trying to gain market share. They're trying to maintain their own reliability in the economy. You know what I mean? And it's not that these people are evil. Though you could definitely argue that. But at the end of the day, they usually are just looking out for their own fucking interests, right? Picture it. You're a fucking non-business owner in a super unstable Germany, right? If you have to choose between communism, like an actual communist movement, and fascism, this fucking guy who will probably get rid of your competition.
I agree with the scapegoating Jews/feminism/wokeism for your conspiracies, but why is capitalism the correct target as opposed to Jews/wokeism? Why is it that capitalism is behind the veil? Why isn't anti-capitalism another veil itself?
Well, okay, because you have to understand like the relationship of the entire means of production, right? Like the reason that there is like a communist movement at this time in Nazi Germany is because people are disenfranchised. They feel like they're getting exploited, right? And they also, keep in mind, the government is working with these fucking business owners at the same time. And this is the same government that is sending them to war, that is funding and receiving weapons from businesses, right? It becomes, again, this is what you need to keep in mind. War is fucking profitable. It is extremely profitable for business owners, okay? That's just a fact, all right? And it's not a matter of me saying, like, if this isn't a fucking, like, I'm not saying capitalism. It's like every time people have a bit of a problem when the word capitalism is brought up, I'm not fucking making it a situation where it's like capitalism equals bad. It's just there is criticisms of capitalism that are undeniable. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that you have to understand. Like there are negatives to it, and one of those negatives is that war can become very profitable. That's a fact. And so if you have a government that wants to start a war, the German aristocracy pre-World War I, they are going to work with companies, German companies usually, to manufacture weapons to fuel the war effort. And, well, who are they going to send to war? The civilians. They're going to send the fucking peasants, right? And so what do you have in that relationship? There's three variables in that relationship. You have the government leaders who are sending people to war. You have, the capitalist, whatever, business owning class who are profiting off of this war. And you have the people dying. And so that's how you come to understand the levels of resentment that were mounting within Germany. And you start to understand that when these business owners have two options, when things get so extreme, which we cannot even begin to imagine how fucking extreme the polarity became in Nazi Germany, okay? Like in World War I. We can't even begin to understand this, right? There's nothing comparable, thankfully, in the fucking States, hopefully ever, but we'll see. But when you have these two extremes, right? These business owners, they pay attention, they understand, right? Communists forming fucking potential revolution, whatever, or these fascists. And the communists, they're not exactly going to be very nice to fucking business owners. But the fascists, they'll be nice to you as long as you're not a Does that make sense? So, of course, they're going to fucking choose the fascists because they're not, again, it's not a matter of evil. It's not a matter of morality. It's a matter of they're just trying to make the best business fucking decision, right? Because that makes sense within their framework. Anyway, and so that's what I'm talking about, basically, where it's like Hitler was the perfect veil, right, to protect the fucking business class. You know what I mean? He provided the perfect scapegoat, distraction, whatever. And it worked. That's what you need to understand. It worked. Even, keep in mind, World War II starts, and so many fucking businesses truly did fucking benefit or profit off of World War II starting. Think about the kind of vehicles, right? You know, there's just plenty of examples of like businesses that thrived due to the wars. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's tragic and whatever, but like I'm not really here to farm morality points, and I tried to make a point of not doing that in the Sneako video. Okay, I don't think you really see me make a single moral claim. I'm not really sure, but I don't think so, because that wasn't my goal. My goal wasn't to be on some high ground, right? It really wasn't. I felt like I made it pretty explicit. I was just trying to go in swinging at my equal, right? Because in my mind, I just see Sneako to an extent as someone who fell for every trap. He fell for every trap. He had all these fucking idiots whispering in his ear. And yeah, maybe I won't get to Sneako, you know, maybe he won't, whatever, give a shit. Maybe he'll write me off as a soy boy little fuck, even though we're probably literally the exact same size. If not, I'm probably bigger. I probably have more fucking muscle mass than him. But yeah, no, it's easier for him to write me off as a fucking obsessed loser, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, sure, fine. But at the end of the day, you know, maybe a young guy will watch the video and they won't fall for the same traps, right? That's kind of the goal. It was like, here's a roadmap so that you don't fall into the same cancer, right? Let me think it through for you so that you don't need to do the hard work, because it is hard, by the way. It is hard. It is hard to to actually think through these things, right? If you truly have an affinity to truth, if you're truly trying to be a philosopher king, right? Which means, you know, become powerful and understand reality, understand the truth, whatever. It's fucking difficult, man. And so, yeah, I don't know. Thankfully, I feel very fucking lucky. I got so many motherfuckers supporting me now, you know what I mean? But keep in mind, before this video dropped, I had a very low level of support. I had support though. I did have support. I had a little community. I had about 50 people who came out to these streams, and now we got fucking 1,600 motherfuckers in here, bro. Oh, yes. So successful conquest in my mind, okay? Mission success, bro. Twice, motherfucker. I came from the ashes and I reaped the soul. Well, you might not be able to kill an idea. You sure as hell can kill a person. Bad faith. Sounds kind of cool, to be honest. I think I'm gonna make that my first merch line.
It's been such a long time